This episode of Invent America Radio is brought to you by America's Inventor Lady and Home Talk USA. Home Talk is a proud member of the King Broadcasting Network and has been bringing you the best of America's home-based product innovation since 1998.
Broadcasting and streaming live all across America. This is Home Talk USA. Join us this hour for our segment Invent America with your co-host Rita Crompton. Discover what's next for new products and innovations. Or if you have that next great big idea, learn what it takes to bring your invention to the world. As Rita Crompton talked to America's inventors and innovators. Remember, the America of tomorrow is being invented today.
Hello, America, and welcome to Invent America, because America invents. Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for being with us for this show of Invent America, because America invents. Have for centuries, and we will continue to invent and deal with the fun challenges and sometimes not so fun challenges of being able to take an idea from mind to market. And that is what we help you do here on Invent America. You know, how do you get started? What do you do? What are the different service providers you're going to need? And, you know, one of the ones as you get down through the steps is going to be actually making now the prototype and then doing short run and hopefully a long run once you've gotten your product out there. One of the things that's probably more challenging for any inventor is something that deals with textiles. You know, rapid prototyping has been wonderful. If you can make it out of plastic, you can use a rapid prototype machine. You know what? If you need a sewing machine, you need to go back to the old-fashioned way of dealing with the textiles and the thread and the needle and being able to get that product done. So my guest today and our industry expert is Stacey Beeler from Stitch, Kentucky, in case you didn't connect those dots. But you know, Stacey, thank you so much for being with us. And you've got probably one of the most challenging parts of making a prototype for someone. You cannot read their mind. And so they've got to be able to send you at least enough information so that you can start putting it into something three-dimensional and stitch it together, hence Stitch, Kentucky. So tell our listeners, what do you do and how do you help inventors get that product out of their head?
Absolutely. So we have worked with lots and lots and lots of inventors, and mostly they'll come to us with an idea. Sometimes it's just in their brain, like you said. Sometimes it's actually drawn out, and it doesn't have to be anything formal. Generally, that's better. If our engineers can meet with them and talk to them about what they're thinking and look at what they're actually, you know, hoping to end up with the end product, then they generally can figure out what to do. Textiles are a little more difficult just because there are so many. There's such a plethora of different applications that we can use as far as sewing them together. If it needs to be a stitch that can't ever tear out, or if it's okay if it's a little weaker stitch, and also the types of fabric that we use. So there are just lots and lots of decisions to be made when you're working with textiles. It's not just one plastic or one wood. There are all kinds of different options. But whenever I'm sorry.
Well, I think that some people, you know, when we talk about textiles, they're thinking, you know, slacks, sweatshirt, that type of thing. But really, when you're talking about textiles, you're talking about everything from car seats and backpacks and tents to the nice linen sheets.
That's right. We actually have sewn car door panels for a major automobile industry. We've done that for several years. We've sewn delicate baby bibs and all kinds of things. So yes, it's when you're on a bus or a plane or in an automobile, you don't think about the sewing that's required to build those things.
You really don't. And so when you've got an inventor that has a unique product, so yes, there may be some thread involved, but there's other parts. You actually will go out and help them find a group. Like, you know, we had Russell that had the copper microbe stopper. And so he was dealing with copper in the material. How do you help someone like that?
Well, we try to keep ourselves abreast of all the newest and latest ways to manufacture things. And for Russell, for example, his product was not something that was just typical fabric. It had to have a component in it that was unique and, hard to find. So we have tried to learn more about 3D printing fabric. That's the neatest thing I've ever seen. So now they are 3D printing fabric, Rita.
Really?
Yes, ma'am. And it looks like fabric. It's porous, and it can tear, but of course it'll change as time goes on. They'll make it stronger and stronger. But yeah, there actually is a company, and I can't use the name of the company, but they are making all of their products out of 3D printed fabric.
Really? Wow, that is really cool. Feet on the ground in the US?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
We're seeing some of that new technology now that it's amazing how you can take advantage of, a little bit of chaos and say, oh, we're making this now in the US. So some of those new technologies are very appropriately timed to, have up and running in the US.
That's exactly right. Yeah. And a lot of times, especially when you're dealing with something that someone just knows what they want it to look like, but they don't really care what it feels like, that's a big deal. Now we're working with an underwear company right now, and that fabric has to be soft. It can't be
Yeah. No itchies.
yeah, that's right. That's right. So, but I'm telling you that it's just there are so many things. And with manufacturing anything, I think that, there always are better ways. And so especially right now and with the sewing that we do, and we're trying to learn some other ways of putting fabric together through heat seal and other options to actually, there are a lot of we have been talking to a company that makes lunch pouches. So they'll have to be heat sealed because they can't be sewn because there would be holes and the ice would melt and the water would come out. So
Oh, yeah.
there are other ways of putting fabrics together too.
Interesting. Yeah. Well, you are a wealth of information always, and especially when it comes to that area of textiles that is, it's grown so much in the last few decades of what, we always used to think textile was to what it has become. And it's like all of the other, industries, all of the other technologies, they grow, they change, they stretch with time. They get better, and, more creative as we go. So what are, if you can tell us, what are some of the coolest products that you have seen in the last year that you've helped get from, that mine to market stage?
Okay, we're working, and I'll tell you what I can about it. It's a medical device. And so children, an adult might have to have an IV or something done to them that they realize what's happening. So they're lying there. They know that that's got to run into their arm. They'll be lying there for an hour or whatever. But children, maybe they don't understand the concept of what's happening. And so we're working with a company who's actually making a toy that a child can play with while they're having a procedure done. So I think that's really exciting, and that makes you feel good to be working on something like that. And then we've also worked, of course, with an Amish company that's in our community who is selling some Amish made products. And so they are actually coming and teaching our women how to sew in the same skill and level that they sew. So it is amazing. So that's another exciting thing that we've been working on, some Amish made apparel.
Excellent, excellent. Well, we are going to be back with a couple of inventors, two different stages, and what we're talking about then is when did they know they had a winner? When did they know? What was that gut feeling that's like, okay, we got this? And so very different inventors, two very different products, and America, two very different products you're going to want to get your hands on. So, anybody out there that needs some help with textiles. Stitch Kentucky is the place to go because of all the variety of things they can do. And Stacey's expertise, because she was an inventor too. She knows the steps you go through. But if you want to just see really cool products that are being made in the USA, Stitch Kentucky is going to have a list. Made in the USA is a platform that just deals with products made in the USA. And we are finding that more and more cool things are made in America. And that is what we're going to be talking about. So everybody stick with us. We will be right back with a couple of really cool new inventors. Everyone, and thank you so much for joining us for this segment of Invent America. And it is so much fun to be able to talk to our American consumers about the new products that are out there. And, every inventor, you start out and you're a little bit unsure about what's going on. And then it's like, okay, I think I've really got something. And then there's the trial and error and all the costs that go into it. And then we finally get ready to hand something off to the American consumer. So there's always that little bit of, now I know I've got it. So Wendi, thanks so much for being with us today. Tell our consumers, what is Float No More?
Thanks, Rita. I appreciate it. Float No More is a weighted hot tub product that you can use so that you don't float away from the jets while you relax in your tub. So I always used to, I say, float away from jets, or when I used to be on a lounger in the hot tub. And I've always braced myself with my legs, or I tighten my muscles, or wrap my arms around something in order to stay fully seated in the hot tub. So I couldn't use a lounger without floating away. So this was a solution to my own problem. Like every time I used it around others, they wanted to use mine. So I knew I needed to do something about it.
Well, it's so funny because I was sitting in the hot tub last night with my grandsons, and I've got one arm over the back of it holding me down. I can't sit because I've got to have a foot up holding me in place. So I get the problem, and cannot wait for your shipment to arrive so I can have one of these. And you launched, so you took, you were brave. You took your two basic prototypes to ASD Market Week in 2024 and launched the product and got a lot of feedback. What did you learn at the show that helped you then design a better product?
I did. And by the way, you'll be one of my first people to get the product, Rita. So thank you. ASD 2024, that was really a good lesson for me. I learned that there are all the people that walk by are your sounding board. That's what I learned, basically, by asking them, what do you see that's good? What do you see that's bad? Would you buy this product? At what price would you buy this product? So I had a lot of questions for them and just used it as a fact-finding mission. I learned that color actually is really important, which I made some slight changes to make it look a little more hot tubby, Caribbean-ish, if you will. I also learned that having a detachable belt. I had a belt, but it wasn't actually both sides detachable to wrap around your waist. You can use these things on your feet, on your legs, but mostly on your waist or your lap so that you can step back into that jet and you don't have to do anything. You can actually relax. So I learned that a detachable belt was really important. So I realized many sizes are going to be purchasing it. So I made it so you can either detach it fully and just lay it on your lap, or if you want it around your waist, like you're going to lay down in a lounger, I have it adjustable to like the small all the way up to a size of a triple XL. So anybody can use this product and get, benefit out of it. But those are two of the main things I learned out of it.
Well, I always tell people there's reasons, there's kind of categories where you go to that professional trade show. You're either going to sell inventory, you are going to then get sometimes it's to take orders, and for the the very basic inventor, it's, like you did, you had a couple of prototypes, you were looking for feedback. How can I make it better? As opposed to the folks that are, you've already started, going through the steps and you're looking for licensing. You've got inventory in a warehouse and you can fill orders. But for a lot of inventors, that first show where you're able to go and get the feedback from the people walking by, from the professionals who would be the resellers of your product, it's priceless.
It is. It is, whether it's designed for your product or not. Another thing I actually noticed in my product was the way I had it built originally when I went to you in 2024 ASD. I had the weights, but I didn't have them necessarily secured enough inside the weight belt portion of it, and they kind of slid to the middle of your lap. So that was not a go. That was not good. I had to design another way to get it evenly distributed. So it was almost like, it's basically an evenly weighted belt that you can use on your body. So it's evenly pushing you back into the jets. So,
and you're right. Your packaging now, your product, the color of the material, everything looks so spa-ish, coolish.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
you did a really good job. So when did you know? When in the steps did you know it's like, I got a hit?
Well, probably two times, honestly. I thought I had a hit after I got the packaging done. I kept running into all of these. Okay, now I have to get the patent. Okay, now I have to learn how to package it. Okay, now I know what do I need to have it say on the package so it looks like it'll go on the shelf anywhere in the States. I need to learn how to do all that. So once I got packaging finished and I got that package in the mail as a prototype, I thought, oh my gosh, I could see this. I can see this on the shelf with all the other spa products. I can. And so that's when I felt I had a hit. But when I really knew I had a hit was when I had my website built. And so my website is out there under floatnomore.com. And I started getting orders. I don't have my product here yet. So I sold out of all my prototypes, and I'm begging my family to go, can I have that one that you gave you? Can I have that one I gave you if you haven't used it? So I'm desperately needing my product right now. So that's when I knew, okay, this is going to work. This is cool. This is going to work. When I have people that they don't know to go to Float No More yet because I haven't done air quote advertising yet. But
right.
A couple of people found the website because they're looking for, I'm tired of floating. How do I stay seated? Something like that.
Well, that is so cool. And we are looking forward to helping you get the word out there. And I know this is one of the ones that's going to be a big hit. And part of it too is, you'd go in and you would talk to a store owner and they would tell you, it's like, no, we don't want a case of these. We want a pallet of these.
Exactly. I hope so.
And it's like, okay, now what? But it's really it's wonderful when a store owner that sells those kinds of products cannot wait to have yours there to sell.
Yes. So that's the next step. It's getting those lined up.
No kidding. We are really, really proud of you, and congratulations. We are looking forward to when your product does get here and we can help you get out there and market it and sell it. We will make sure that your website is up on our website and that we do some video with you and stream it out there on our Invent America TV's channel, and people can see it. So stick with us, America. You can't get it quite yet, but we will let you know when you can get Float No More. In the meantime, we have got 2 inventors coming up that do have product, and they are so excited to be able to share with all of the consumers out there this new DIY product that is made in America. So stick with us, everybody. We will be right back. America, and thank you so much for joining us for this segment of Invent America, because like I say all the time, America invents. We see a problem, we invent the solution. And it's wonderful to have our next two guests. I know that they were on the Made in America segment not too long ago because they do manufacture in America. And it is so exciting to have more of our American made products on our show. So Cy, thanks so much for being with us. Keith, thanks so much for being with us. You guys are I was going to say, oh, sorry, Teamsters. You're not Teamsters. You are a team.
Yeah.
Tell us about Coda and how you came up with the product.
Okay. Well, I'm the inventor and the owner. I've been doing tile and stone work for, since, I don't even want to go into how long, but 30, 40 years, somewhere in there. And anyway, so I was on a job site one day. We had a problem. There was a drain that's misplaced. And it's quite a common thing, even in new construction and remodels. And this happened to be a remodel job that I was on. And the builder had the plumber come out and move the drain, but it wasn't in perfect alignment with the faucet, with the where the spout and all that's going to be, and the valves in the wall. And anyway, so we laid out the shower. Him and I talked about the layout of the shower, and me being a tile setter, there wasn't an adjacent wall to go to. So I was able to lay the tile out to full tile. And when you're a tile setter, a tile contractor, you lay it out to a full tile. Well, apparently we had discussed it. He wanted, let's say, the wall to be out at like 30 inches, and full tile was like 31 or 32. So I went out to 32, whatever it was, 31, 32. He comes back a few hours later. I've got the wall tiled and the installation's in, and he looks at it and he goes, "Oh my gosh, you laid that out to full tile. My drain's off." And I go, "Well, your drain was already off. I mean, what do you mean? I set the tile. I didn't have anything to do with your drain being misplaced." And he's like, "Oh no, it makes it really look out of proportion with the wall." And I said, "Well, no, you and the plumber did that. It says it's already off, He says, "Well, do they have anything out there that can help me, realign that drain with the valves?" And I said, "Well, me just thinking common sense wise, I thought, well, yeah, go down to your local hardware store or plumbing outlet, and like Home Depot or Nelson's or Ferguson's or something, and you can find an offset drain system." So he takes off and he goes away for a couple hours. He comes back and he's all disgruntled, and "I can't find anything. There's nothing out there, to move this drain. All I found was this. He had this one thing that offset the drain maybe 3/4 of an inch, and this thing was probably, if I remember correctly, 4 to 6 inches off center." And so we're talking about it, and then all of a sudden I get this download of, wow, I need to move this thing. I get the full picture and everything, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh!" I go, "You haven't found anything out there?" And he goes, "Oh no, nothing." And what he brought back is this linear drain that you could cut and move left or right to each other, but our drain was more in the center. And you couldn't use it because the linear drain you usually use up against a wall. So I get that download and everything. I go home and I'm just pacing around the house. And my wife's like, "What's going on?" And I go, "Oh my gosh, I got a download from the universe. I need to go to Home Depot and go buy some plumbing parts and make this thing." So I go to Home Depot and I buy all these plumbing parts, and I go home, and the next morning I'm melting pieces on the stovetop, and I videotaped it and everything, how I put the first Coda together. So
cool. So
yeah.
What does Coda stand for?
It stands for, it's Coda, CODA. It stands for Colorado Offset Drain Attachment. And
okay.
Yes.
Yeah. So what, when someone goes to your website, what are they going to find?
Okay. So you want to go to CodaUS.com, which is CODAUS.com. And on that website, you're going to find all the information you need. You'll find podcasts. You'll find how-to videos. You'll find what makes Coda great. Coda's, you'll see all the certifications for Coda. how to use Coda in any kind of application, and the certain applications that Coda is good for. And Coda is good for commercial applications, hotels. Guys have had problems. You wouldn't believe what they have to go through to move a drain in a hotel or a hospitality situation. They have to get a radar guy out there because in a hotel situation or a multifamily home unit, like condos and stuff, they have post-tension rods in most states to hold the concrete and everything together. Well, they need to bring a radar guy in there to find out where the rods are so they can drill the concrete to move the drain, because they move the drain and the P-trap, Rita. And so what Coda does is it allows you to leave the original drain in place, and Coda goes over top of the concrete in the mud or the foam pan or underneath a solid surface pan, and it makes it simple and easy for you to move the drain.
It sounds like you guys solved a huge problem out there.
It's huge.
Yeah. And it doesn't matter whether it's a homeowner or a contractor, they got to be loving you.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. If you're in a home situation, and let's say you have your mom or grandma's in the other room, they've got to come in there with a jackhammer, drill out the concrete, create a bunch of dust to move the drain and the P-trap. And that usually takes the better part of a day. And normally for a plumber to come in and do something like that, to move it maybe 30 inches or 5 feet or whatever they're going to do, it gets pretty expensive. We've heard prices quote from $2,500 to $10,000 to move a drain, just to move the drain.
Wow.
Oh,
wow.
Yeah.
So how are you letting people know that you're there? How do they find, it's not that they're not going to Google, Coda because they don't know it's there. How do they find you?
Sai, you want to take over on that?
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about our marketing and everything.
There's a ton of ways they can find us. So first off, a lot of stuff going on social media. All of that directs directly to our website. You can order directly from the website, and we're also in a lot of retailers. So we've got, of course, those retailers across the country. They're spreading the word about us. We've got a massive email list, so we're constantly adding to that, and we're sending out mass emails to let people know about updates, any new information we're getting in, new products. We've also got sales reps, so they're hitting the country hard. We've got them in a ton of states. I'd say, I don't know, 20 states we've got covered.
Good for you guys. So, all right, how long have you been doing this, Sai? How long have the product been available and out there?
Yeah, what would you say, Keith? Product's been out 2 years now?
Well, let's see. We first brought it to the first show about 3.5 years ago, 4 years ago. We brought it to a covering show in Las Vegas, and we just brought prototypes, and we wanted to see what the reaction was. What do people think about Coda? What problem does it solve, and just see what the reaction. And we thought, okay, wow, if we hit between 5 and 10, 7 or 10, we've got a great product. Well, Coda hit like a 25. People were flipping out. I mean, we had large corporations checking us out, billion-dollar companies just going, oh my God, my boss is going to kill me because I didn't come up with this. This is so simple. This is unbelievable. How did you come up with this? And so we knew then that it was a great idea, and then started bringing it after the prototypes. Then we started working on developing, getting the first molds made and getting the product into a package. So that took another 6 months to a year. So,
well, good for you guys. It's wonderful to meet the inventors that have got this, really, an industry impacting idea. When you hear that it's going to make a difference, and we've talked to a lot of different inventors in different industries, that moment that is like, okay, this is a game changer, and that's what we were looking for from you guys, is to tell us why it's a game changer. So good luck, congratulations. And you know what? It's amazing to see these products come, and we will have you on again because you've got a lot of really good information to share with those inventors out there who want to get from mind to market. So everybody stick with us. We are going to be back with our industry expert here to wrap this up. You know what? you make it in America. That's coming up next, Made in America. And we've got a couple of folks for our industry experts with that show that talks about the challenges of making it in America. So stick with us, everybody. We will be right back. Thank you so much for being with us for this segment of Invent America. And today we've been talking about that aha moment. When did you know you had a game changer? And with Wendi, when it was in the hot tub industry, a really cool product that, so you can actually relax in the hot tub and not float away. And with the gentlemen that do the drains so that you don't have to rip out the entire floor of your house to fix a drainage problem. And, Stacey has seen some of these things come her way when she goes, okay, this is cool. Stacey, tell us about, some of the things that you've seen that were the game changer, that had industry impact. And then how do you help them when you, maybe you see it, but maybe the inventor doesn't quite feel it yet?
So, we've done this for a long time, Miss Rita. I've been an inventor just about all of my life. And so I guess it is just when you see that there are people who are interested, when everybody they tell about it, people look at your product. I know we've been to the America's Mart in Atlanta different times with different products, and people would walk up and they would say, "Oh, that's the neatest thing I've ever seen. I love it. Oh, you all are going to do fabulous. That's really a great product." But then when it comes time to write the order, they're not ready to write the order. So I guess when people are actually ordering and buying and spending money on it, that's when you've got something.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. Some of it we look at as being, impacting the quality of life. We had one young lady that invented a new powder for early onset Parkinson's. Anybody with a feeding tube, that tube, the body fluids cause a terrible, terrible rash. And it has for decades, nobody had a solution to it. This improved the quality of life for those people because she invented a product that would stop the rash. And, great. And it's the company then that makes the problem that licensed the cure for the problem. So game changer. It was a game changer for them. And, just like people float away in a hot tub, Wendi, she invented a game changer for the hot tub industry, and companies notice it. They see it. Consumers notice it. They see it. So, we are excited to be able to have our consumers go to our different websites and see the products that do make a difference.
Yeah, for sure. So, and I guess, when someone's excited about something too, a whole lot of it is who's selling it. And we've learned that off of social media that you can sell anything. These TikTok shops and some of the ways that my customers are selling things, it just amazes me. But a whole lot of it's their excitement. And if they can convince people it's something they want, generally they want it.
Oh, I know. I mean, when we think back, on the day when the pet rock made its debut, I don't know that anybody really needed a pet rock, but look at how many they sold.
Yeah, exactly.
And then it's all about the story you tell about the product.
Right.
And so in Wendi's case, all right, she realized she needed to change some of the coloring and make it, look water friendly, beach friendly, spa friendly. And so she did. And it does make a difference.
Sure.
So when you're looking at something for an inventor, all right, somebody that's just coming to you, how do you advise them when you see something that they may not quite be seeing?
We do handle that very carefully because it doesn't matter what we think, or it really doesn't matter how they want us to sew it as long as we can sew it. We try, sometimes I've had seamstresses who've tried to change, oh, why don't they do this or why don't they do this? And you just have to remind them that it's not our product, it's theirs. So I guess you just share your thoughts with them without pushing it on them.
Very well said. Because I've had, inventors, I've made suggestions and they go, wow, why didn't I think of that? And it's like, because I'm a different set of eyes and mind on it that can say, oh, what about this? For a lot of my inventors, when we're working on something, it's industry changes. All right, that they're focused on one industry, and we say, but what about this industry over here? They might not have quite understood that as being an option because they were so focused. And one of the things that we see, kind of the reverse of that is that they think they've got a new product and they really don't because it's being used, same technology in a different industry.
Yeah, exactly.
And one of the big crossovers, which, so many people find very bizarre, is a tool that's used to fix the car engine frequently is already being used to do surgery. And so when I tell, it's like, no, it's being used in surgery. And they go, no, it's not. It's never been done before. It's like, yep, here it is.
Wow.
So, just some of those things, because a lot of people don't realize a good patent is not size specific, material specific, or industry specific. It's about what the thing does.
That's
so
right.
It could do it in multiple industries. You just never know.
That's right. Yep, that's exactly right. And I learn a lot every day. I learn things from, this is a job that you get here and you just don't know what you're going to learn, but we always learn a lot from our inventors.
So how are you getting the word out about Stitch Kentucky and all the different things that you can do to help inventors or just, people get their products made right here in America?
So we have joined several different apps or several different platforms where we can advertise our sewing. Basically, Miss Rita, the word of mouth is what's gotten us. People like you, and there are all kinds of people who know about us and have worked with us. And Don Skaggs here in Kentucky, he's really big on getting the word out about us. So it's really a whole lot of just word of mouth and customers who work with us and have a good report and they share it, and that's great.
Well, we are looking forward to sharing your information and letting everybody know what good work you do with inventors and short runs and things that work into long runs. So, Stacey, thanks so much for being with us. We will have you back soon. Thanks, everyone, for joining us today. We will be back next week with more stories on getting products from mind to market. We will have new inventors and industry experts. So join us and have a wonderful week.